All right, Broncos country. You've missed about 10 minutes of Rockies talk, but we're back. This is Mic'd Up. I'm Mike Carmellini. Joining me tonight, two of my favorites, DMAC, Altitude Sports Radio, and Mr. Zach Segars, KOA Radio, and Let's Talk Broncos. Gentlemen, welcome into Rockies night on Mic'd Up, I guess. Yeah. Crazy stuff going on out there, right?
Well, as long as Sean Payton doesn't allow us to look at anything, we're forced to talk about Rockies. Sean, open it up, baby. Let's see what's going on.
Did you go last week? Didn't you go to OTAs?
I can't. It's for me. It's. I'm on the air at noon.
Oh, that's true.
I have gone for the first, half hour, 40 minutes. I've done that before, but Zach can attest to it. It's just, you're
there to be there. You're there to be
listen,
there.
I'm not saying I don't get things out of it. And I talk to the other folks there and I can look at RJ Harvey's thighs and all that. But
quads, we call them quads.
Okay. Quads. Are we going quads? Thighs is too
quads.
Creepy.
Yeah,
thighs is creepy.
It's kind of creepy.
Hey, you take it all in. I'm taking it all in.
So, but the last 40 minutes is like a real practice. It is. And but I can't be there for the last 40 minutes. So it's like, so whatever. Yeah, I know that it's open to the media, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. And I believe it'll be open on Thursday this week. So I'll try to get out there at some point.
And Zach, did you make it to any OTAs yet this year? Or are you planning on going?
I have not made it out yet, but
there's only one. You could have only gone to one. That's it.
I know exactly. It's the one a week.
There was the 1 day a week that you're allowed to go.
You could have gone to rookie.
You didn't go Thursday.
You could have gone to rookie minicamp.
It's true. Yeah. And then we've got minicamp on the 10th, right? The 10th through the 12th or something coming up.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I think Sean will have all of. I don't think it'll be send the guys home early or an ice cream truck will pull up or field day or any of that goofy crap that's happened in the past because they have a week bowling less day. All that crap really, it's a little pet peeve. But you realize these guys have been hanging out together all spring, right? Like they've been bonding for literally weeks together. They've been around each other.
Yeah. I remember last year you kind of going off on that.
I've gone off on it for like years and years and years. I tell you why I don't care this year. It's a little bit different though, because they finally did something. They made the playoffs. They had a winning season.
Give them some ice cream.
Sure. I mean, that's all. My problem with it in the past was Vic Fangio has different colored shirts for field day. It's like, what have you done? What are you doing? God, Vic Fangio, could I not stand that dude?
He was in the reality. It's all just strategy to try to minimize how much the media is watching and reporting on all that stuff. It's like this is the day media's here, but we got the ice cream trucks out. So what the hell are you going to say about it?
Well, when they do that though, they cancel the media. They don't. They just are like, we're not really having practice. So
I remember one time they rolled up the food trucks or whatever late, but
yeah, it's stupid. Well, Sean last year just canceled it and just said, "See ya." And that's the right thing to do. If you're just going to be foolishness, they're grown men with families. Give them an extra day vacation.
Yeah, give them the day off.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Not complicated.
All right, so
I also didn't like Von Miller's Halloween parties. That's another get off my lawn moment. Don't have Halloween parties in the middle of the season. Be focused.
Now, is that react? Is that okay? So that's reactive. That's not based on the fact that things went down.
It was well, as it turns out, things went down 2 years in a row. One year was, Chad Kelly was all goofed up on whatever, getting throttled by a vacuum cleaner tube, making sure his ass got cut. And then if you remember the next year, and despite all that, they still have one the next year. Do you remember what happened?
I do.
Do you remember what happened? The next year.
Wait, this isn't no.
The next year,
this is the people being upset that Von Miller was asking him for money for the party. The rookies, upset, I believe.
Exactly.
It's always a controversy.
Yeah. So again, a bunch of crap in the locker room because Von's going after the rookies or whatever for $1,000 or whatever it is for something that nobody really wanted to have anyways.
Oh.
And I'm so glad with Sean Payton. There's so many reasons why I'm happy for Sean Payton. But one of it is all that stupid foolishness that used to go on. You realize, guys, that's gone. None of that crap happens anymore, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, but he seems like he's got kind of a decent balance, though. Like it feels and seems like the guys still enjoy being there and the camaraderie's good. And is that is that more of a result of him getting his guys in there, or is it, I don't know, Sean walking that fine line of being a player's coach and a hard ass at the same time?
Zach?
Yeah, I think that's definitely I don't know. I think we've seen him be both his entire coaching career. I mean, he's the only coaching or coach in any sport with a shoe deal, and he's got all his special Jordans or whatever in New Orleans and now in Denver. There's always been Club Dub. I always picture or have the mental image of Jameis Winston dancing with his crutches ingrained in my head forever. I think he's always been a little of both. I don't think he's like all the way on the Belichick end of the spectrum when you're talking like Parcells disciples. But yeah, he's off the Parcells tree. He's a bit of a hard ass. He wants to take care of business and be about football. But I think he also understands you need some carrot with the stick. It can't just be stick 24/7. And yeah, I just think you look at the turnaround and everything. People loved rubbing all the national analysts' nose in the like bottom of the league roster rankings last year. That's how the roster looked. All these players have developed and taken massive leaps, and it's largely because of the coaching. I know you were just taking shots at Vic Fangio, and plenty good reasons for that. But it's also not coincidental that you look at player development during like the Fangio and Sean Payton years, and it's better than anything else the franchise has had post Super Bowl 50. It's because that's when they had experienced coaching staffs that were capable at developing the talent that was being brought in, free agent or otherwise. And so I think all that good mojo is the reason why. I mean, you saw George Payton with some non-Sean Payton head coaches and with a Sean Payton head coach. And how much better do the talent acquisitions look with the latter?
Yeah, it looks better. And it's the biggest separator between Sean Payton and all these other coaches is that he truly understands the importance and value of the quarterback and how to find the guy that fits him the best. And that's why Bo Nix wasn't the sixth quarterback taken. I mean, I guess numbers-wise he was. That was Sean's guy. Listen, of course, I think he'd been thrilled to get Jaden Daniels or something like that. But this Bo Nix, he liked Bo Nix. That's all very, very legit. That's not made up. That's not like, oh, you get the consolation prize because you're picking 12. No, they like Bo Nix. He liked Bo Nix, and he's proved it. So that's for real. And I don't think we're about to see a regression from Bo Nix either, by the way, guys. I think you're seeing Bo Nix step up in terms of leadership, which has been tremendous. There's so many cases to point at. His physical ability. Hey, man, he had a bum ankle. He had some issues with his back, right? He admitted,
back. That's an issue.
Yeah. How about that? He admitted that it was the first time in 18 months that he's taken some, had to take some time off. I think that's a good thing. I think we all sort of forget that when these guys come out of college, they go right into combine training, right into rookie minicamp, into OTAs. And then, yeah, you get 6 weeks off, but how many of those rookies are really taking that time off either, right? You're a rookie. You're nervous, right? You're going to kind of keep going. So finally you can take a breath. I think Bo Nix is going to have a tremendous year. I think he's going to not slide back whatsoever. I think he's going to have a better year. And nobody knew that he was going to be as good of a runner as he was because he didn't need to do that at Auburn and more specifically Oregon. But he's got that ability too, and it's a great ability that he has. So Sean's got his guy. He understands the importance of quarterback. They got the right quarterback. Listen, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we certainly hope Bo Nix can be that $60 million 10-year quarterback for the Broncos, right? I mean, that'd be the best thing for everybody. So far, so good. Like he's on that path, and hopefully it keeps going.
Zach?
Yeah, I think – sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, Zach, go ahead. I was going to throw it to you anyway.
There's just every reason to feel optimistic about Bo Nix continuing on this path or taking a big leap into year two. I think it's way more likely we see Joe Burrow is probably the most extreme example, but that type of like, whoa, okay, this guy's announced his arrival in year two than it is we see some sort of Mac Jones calamitous, year two drop off or sophomore slump. Great. Every chapter of Bo Nix's career has been defined by remarkable development. Right. He wasn't the best prospect in last year's draft, but no quarterback prospect of that top 6, top 7, I guess, even if you want to factor in Rattler in there, had improved more from their first college snap to their last college snap than Bo Nix. Rookie minicamp. Look at all the media reports from last year's rookie minicamp. I don't know. This guy's looking a little rough. By the time fans were showing up for training camp, it was like, this guy looks great. This is some of the best training camp play we've seen from a quarterback, in these post-Manning years. First preseason game looked real choppy. Footwork was not good, a little all over the place. Last preseason game, it was like, let's give this guy the keys. He's ready to go. First regular season start, you've got Adam Archuleta knowing the interceptions before they're even out of his hands. Last regular night, like 11 games into the thing, he's dang near taken down Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead. Right. Every chapter of his career, either the whole picture or, again, chapter by chapter, is defined by large leaps of development. And I think that ability to grow, learn, and like implement it into a game is a legitimate skill. You look at Drew Lock, he's the same guy now he was his freshman year at Mizzou. It's the exact same scouting profile, footwork, accuracy, great arm, the whole thing. Bo Nix is constantly evolving. And so now he's done all that with a never-ending revolving door of offensive coordinators having to relay that foundation every single season of his post-high school football career. He's now getting to build on top of an already set foundation, and he's doing it with Sean fucking Payton. Excuse me, I don't know how family-friendly channel is, Mike, but it's a great combo. I mean, I think they're set up very, very well for a sizable year 2 leap. Like offensive line health, maybe having some horrible regression is the only thing I'm really worried about.
I hope not. I mean, they're certainly paid to be one of the top offensive lines. Where do you think that would come from? Where would the regression come from on the O-line?
Just the sense that I think each of the last 2 seasons, they've been like top 3 in terms of snap percentage that like the starting 5 is playing together. So just do they have worse injury luck? I'm not worried about anyone playing much worse, but instead of, Mike McGlinchey missing or like the starting unit combined missing like 4 or 6 games, are we missing 15, 20 combined games where, one guy's down 10 weeks and one guy's down 4 or whatever. And all of a sudden we're putting a lot on Alex Paucheski's plate. And he looked good last year, but Justin Cernod looked good for like the first 5 games he had to be in, backup duty for Singleton. But by year's end, teams had figured out how to kind of abuse that matchup.
Yeah, as it turned out, because the defense, like in December, was like, yikes, ooh, yay. But whatever, man. I mean, I think they filled those holes on defense. I think you gotta knock on wood, man, for health, right? Like a lot of things can turn around for a lot of teams depending on who gets hurt. But like if you just look at it on paper, and I mean, we could talk about the JD Barron selection because of what you gave up, not how good he is. We know how good he is, okay? So I'm not against having great players on the team. But okay, so right, like we didn't need Judkins, right? I guess, you don't need Stevenson. You're okay at running back. We're all right with the thigh quad guy. We're good with Harvey, right? So you just gotta. We're all right with like Marvin Mims is gonna be cool, right? I guess, right? Vele, awesome, and we picked up Pat Bryant, who you guys love. We're good there.
We know what you're saying. I like how you guys are getting so far ahead of me that I don't have to use any of my banners tonight because you just know where I'm going. So I just get to sit here and read the chat and watch you guys go to town.
Well,
so
I mean,
I was going to ask you about the JD Barron, the Jade Barron pick.
I think I mean, I do trust them.
Are they too cute there? Did they get cute there and pass up somebody they should have picked up?
Gosh, man. I mean, if you believe the mocks, they got a bit of a bargain on Barron, depending on how you would read the mocks. But I saw plenty of mocks where Barron would have been falling to that spot. I think he fell a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. It's definitely taken best player available. Never mind the position, which, okay. You could have knocked me over with a feather, though, Zach and Mike. Like I just didn't see it coming. I'll never make that mistake
either.
I'll never make that mistake again. If I'm talking about Broncos and the draft picks, I'll just be like, well, who's fallen? Because I mean, there's other Broncos guys that fell in the past, and it gives you just, kind of like, all right, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. It sort of depends how it goes. When the rest of the league says, I don't think so on this guy. I'm not against Barron, though. He's definitely a good football player, right? There's no debating that. It's great having good football players. I just wanted, you didn't get one of your tight ends that we talked about. You didn't get a dynamic receiver that we kind of talked about. You didn't get a top line running back that we talked about. and you sacrificed all those guys because you did go with JD Barron. That is true. You did sacrifice that for him. So not that he's not good. He's great. I'm sure he'll be awesome. But you gave up on like 6 or 7 different offensive weapons for that, because of that.
So if you're a GM, Zach, who would you have taken at 20, looking back on it now?
I really like the Jahdae Barron pick. I'll be on the other side.
Who would you have taken?
Who would I have taken? Man, in the moment, admittedly, it would have been Amari and Hampton.
Okay.
I heard by the way, I heard they didn't like him at all. Like they weren't in on him at all, Zach. That's what I heard.
That's interesting to me. And hey, more power to him. We'll see how that pans out. I think it might be a little not fun facing him in the division for a while, right. But I do think there's a legit opportunity cost with going the running back angle too. If they had taken Hampton, I just looked this up really quick, he would have been the 8th highest paid running back in the league in terms of guaranteed money from day one. So let's say he is an elite running back, top, quarter of the league starting running back. Well, you're just getting what you paid for then. You're not, and really just the financial element. You're not factoring in the opportunity cost of losing in a first round pick too. So he really has to be like a top 5 pick to not even get surplus value on it, but just to live up to the draft selection. So I think, and that doesn't apply to receiver. We know how crazy that market is. But I think that can make it a little easier to pass on the running back there. I don't think the tight ends on the board there were all that appetizing.
But there were like 3 of them. There were like 3 of them though, dude. Like early in the second round. I mean,
they could have maybe traded up there. I'll give you that, or maybe traded out. But Mason Taylor, even like I was never a Mason Taylor believer. I think this is a class where almost everyone had the same opinion that there were maybe 10-ish players at the top, 10 to maybe 15 guys with first round grades. And after that, there was this crazy plateau of talent that lasted late into the second round. And I don't think it's hard to imagine the Broncos, like many teams or even media analysts, I think the consensus boards have been pretty predictive, had Jahdae Barron as a top 10, top 11 player in this draft. One of those guys, one of those last guys on that shelf of talent. And so I think it's okay to maybe break or go away from needs to grab what's an obvious best player available. If it's 11 versus 12, that's one thing, but 11 versus 18, I think that's where it's more meaningful. And I think it just unlocks so much for this defense. It will help you maximize Patrick Surtain, get more value out of pieces like Talanoa Hufanga as well, because you can maybe move him up to linebacker now and drop Barron at safety. So I think it opens up a lot of stuff there. And then lastly, I think it speaks to the organizational health. We were laughing just a second ago about how rough it's been post Manning. I think this speaks to the current health of the organization. If you think about what franchises draft best player available pretty consistently, it's like the Ravens and the Eagles, 2 incredibly healthy franchises where the people in charge, the architects of the team know, hey, I can play the long game. I have the luxury of not having to fill a need right now because my job's on the line, because ownership or whatever powers may be understand that, the bigger picture here. And I don't have to worry about, God, if I don't fill this wide receiver need right now, it's going to be my ass in January, which is a place 2025 NFL GMs have to operate from, because that's just the nature of the league. This, I think, points to an aspect of organizational health that's really healthy, and it feeds itself. Like, in part, why are the Ravens and Eagles always able to do that? Draft best player available instead of reaching for need? Well, because they've backfilled needs already in prior seasons by drafting best player available when it wasn't necessarily a need, and being able to draft and develop those guys. Now, they definitely reached later in the draft on some talent. We'll see how that turned out.
Who do you think they reached on? The punter?
Pat Bryant is one that I don't
love.
Boy,
they loved him though, man. They really loved him.
Harvey too. And Harvey's one I love, so I'm less mad about it. But I am a believer that I think the consensus boards are fairly predictive, and the Broncos totally bucked it. And I think of when was last time they bucked it, and it was 2022. And a lot of those, Montrell Washington, DTY, being 2 of the ones that immediately come to mind. Wattenberg actually panned out. But some of their big reaches in that class, Wazirike was another one. They really never got anything out of. And this draft, if you were to compare it to like Peyton's resume, like which year is this most similar to? I think it's most similar to 2022, and that's not the one you want to emulate.
Yeah, we'll see listen, it was definitely a trust the organization draft. It was we know better than everybody else draft. And it was we feel better about our receivers than anybody's given us credit for draft. It was hey, we trust Evan Engram to be the guy. Okay. I think he's probably only going to be here for 2 years, but you're telling us you really think he's going to be the man. You drafted a punter, which to me is like, wasn't Vele a 6th round pick? Like, if you don't draft that punter, you can't pick up the second best punter, like in free agency. Like that's not available to you. And I laugh at this too because like we're in Denver, Colorado. I mean, like the second or maybe even third best punter in the draft as an undrafted free agent in Denver will probably be okay. So we got a lefty Australian, and it'll be fun to listen to him, I guess. But I mean,
but still, DMAC. I mean, you're talking about 7th rounders, right?
Well, he's a 6th rounder. The punter was a 6th rounder. The 7th rounder I love.
Oh, the 7th rounders are 20-foot tall basketball player, right? Okay, so 6th rounder.
I don't know if you need to use a draft pick on Caleb Lohner, but I thought
Lohner was the one we could have got in free agency.
Well, I think we could have got. Well, I don't know if we would have lost the punter in free agency. I just wouldn't sweat the details about getting the 2nd or 3rd best punter. Lohner, I'm sure we could have got Lohner in free. Well, they must have had a vibe that somebody was going to take him. I don't hate that pick, but boy, you want to talk about first world problems when you're picking up like red zone specialist tight ends.
Right.
And maybe you guys remember him. I don't remember his name, but the Chiefs a few years ago had a 6'8" skinny specialist tight end. I'll never forget Chris Harris trying to guard this guy in the red zone, and it was impossible. So, but I mean, like, all right, like we got 45, 46 guys on the active roster. Does that guy make it? I mean, we're saving a roster spot on the 53 for that kind of specialist. I mean, maybe we are. But I'm not going to hate on 6th, 7th round picks, guys. I mean, that's just like, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't,
I think you will. I think you will hate on them. That's what.
No.
At least have fun with it.
I know what I can really hate on. I don't have a lot to hate on these days. I mean,
all right, let me get your thoughts on this. I saw this the other day. Zach, you probably saw this too. I don't know if DMAC, if you saw this floating around Twitter. Sam Monson, the 33rd team. I guess he was with PFF before, but here's his top 5 rosters in the NFL. I find it kind of funny and interesting since last year we were the bottom 2, and somehow we've crawled up to the top 5. Are you buying this? Are you in the ballpark?
Kind of. Like, where are we weak? Give me a starting position that we're stopped at.
And that's kind of where I was.
Which linebacker? So if Singleton's not going to be healthy?
If Singleton's not healthy, that would be.
Greenlaw's not going to be healthy?
If Singleton is healthy, I think it's still a problem area. I think he's a liability in coverage and was before the ACL. And the stat I keep highlighting with him is each of the last 2 years, and granted 2024 is a smaller sample size, but each of the last 2 years, he's bottom 10 among qualifying linebackers in missed tackle percentage. So people always highlight the tackle rates. He is one of the least consistent tackling totals. He's one of the least consistent tacklers for the position. He's not the great run defender that I think some people hype him up to be. So you've got him kind of being a liability there, kind of being a liability in coverage. Now he's 32, I believe, and he's coming off a torn.
What do you think of Drew Sanders?
I like it, but I think it's a theory. I think it's a fun idea. And I think he can be.
He looks like he can play the part, though, doesn't he? I mean, you just see him on the field, and you're like, oh my God, that guy should really be able to do this.
The flashes are exciting, and if they can minimize it or minimize how much is on his plate, where he's getting to move forward a lot and just fire downhill and chase after the ball, I think that's probably the best way to use him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the second best off-ball linebacker on this team. But I
don't blame you for having nerves, though, on the inside linebacker, because I'm nervous about Greenlaw's health, too. I got you. That's good. But aside from inside linebacker, we're also the Broncos weak. If we're just talking about the top 5 rosters, where else? What other position?
And I think they could be top 5. But to play devil's advocate, I think running back too. And I love RJ Harvey, but I think that's another one where it's like, hey, plenty of these draft picks miss, and there's at least, let's say, a 40% chance that you're looking at like a rookie you don't love and Audric Estime. And I think that could be a scary spot.
Estime's Sean Payton's talking about Estime like, he'll get his carries. I'm like, really? You sure?
Yeah, I'm in the same spot. Like, I love the idea of it, but
I doubt it. How does he? No, seriously, how does Estime get carries between what? Jaleel McLaughlin's? Are they cutting him, or are we keeping Jaleel?
I think he's thinking Jaleel will be the number 3 back.
Okay, well, how many times
have RJ?
RJ
will be the lead back.
Okay, can RJ Harvey pass block?
That's
better.
The thing. We don't know, but
he's not going to be playing.
Jaleel. Jaleel's got the Lindsey problem where he's like physically incapable. Like, I think.
So, but if RJ Harvey can pass block, like, when's he coming off the field for how many snaps?
Exactly. Like, that's where I think it gets. And that's the good thing, right? If RJ Harvey's a good runner, we know the pass catching ability, right? If he has the pass blocking down, you might have an all around back, and this really isn't a problem. But on the other end of the spectrum, if it's like, ooh, this guy might not be fully ready, I think it could get real scary really quick. Where, I mean, you're pretty much left with the backfield they had last year, where they were very obviously unhappy with it. I felt for much of the season.
Yeah, well, Javonte, I cannot even believe he got picked up by Dallas, but like. That was done. And
got picked up by Dallas as their move at the position. They were like, we got Javonte. We're cool.
We're good now.
That's amazing to me. And, don't forget about Estime. Hey, listen, I'm not rooting against anybody, but the truth is that guy got benched in a playoff game for Tyler Bidet, who hadn't played in like 3 months. So, I mean, that happened. So,
and it wasn't like they had some incredible vision for Bidet where they were like, we got this genius play. He had like 2 They had 2 touches, 2 snaps the entire game.
Because they were up 7-0, and then I forgot. The game is a blur to me. It started great. Troy Franklin caught a deep pass, and then like the rest of the game was downhill. There was no chance to run the ball in that game. Not really. But whatever. That was the Bills. The Broncos weren't to that level, clearly. And hopefully they will be this year. Top 5, maybe. On paper, the roster's pretty good, guys. It is. Pretty good.
I'm looking at it right now. I think I would have to look at other rosters. Like when I do power rankings, I'd have to look at other people's. But I agree with you, DMAC.
It's like belief. Do you believe Courtland Sutton is a top 15 receiver in the league?
No.
I think the Broncos think he's their number 1 receiver. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
do you believe this is?
I like Courtland Sutton.
Well, Courtland Sutton should have been thrilled about the draft. If anybody is going to make more money because they just didn't go in a certain direction, it certainly should be Courtland Sutton.
That's true.
And you got to believe in Mims. I roll my eyes about believing in Troy Franklin. Vele seems solid, and then Bryant seems like another Vele, frankly. And, so if you believe in what they believe, you're fine. Tight end, I love Evan Engram if he can stay healthy. I love the idea of him. I love the idea of everything with the Broncos. The concept is great. Yeah. The concept with the Broncos right now is awesome. The concept.
Well, if you look at, like what I'm looking at, Zach, is Javonte Williams is gone, and you're putting RJ Harvey in here. I believe that's an improvement. I mean, Adam's still going to play. Troutman's still going to play, but Evan Ingram's an improvement. I think we improved both of those positions. And then as far as these, where's the other one? Where's my, you've got what? Pat Bryant now, hopefully. I mean, and you've got Vele that we haven't even talked about yet. I think maybe the receiver room's not as bad as we think. And I think we have gotten better, and I certainly think we got better on defense. And I add Barron to that too for Jaquan McMillan still be on the team, right? Because we need depth everywhere. Sure. So, I mean, you throw Barron in there, I think we improved on defense. And then as far as Riley Dixon, Crawshaw, that's best pick of the draft right there, DMAC. Best pick ever. That's
Can I give you something super funny about that? One of the funnier things. Here's a great little twist. On Tuesdays, all teams bring in like tryout guys. And on a lot of tryout guy days, they bring in a lefty punter if you're facing a lefty punter. Because there's so the receivers can or punt returners can see what
it's like the toilet spins one way in Singapore and the other way.
Right. So they do that. They will literally bring in guys just so their punt returners can see that spin and have a little idea, off the foot. Our guy Cranshaw, right? Is that it? Crawshaw. He's a lefty. So that means theoretically the Broncos are going to be bringing a plethora of righty tryout kickers the entire year, which is pretty funny. It'll be a funny thing to track.
They'll be easy to find.
Well, right. So we're going to have this cavalcade of righty punters theoretically coming in to boot the right-footed kick to the guys. Because I don't know, God, Zach, if you knew it off the top of your head, I'd be impressed. But how many lefty punters are even in the league?
Probably not many. Right? That's beyond my talents. But what I will say is I'm pretty sure Matt Hawk is a righty and he's not up to anything. He's not up to anything. So just keep him around.
Okay.
Are you telling me Will Lutz can't punt a 40-yard punt? You tell me Will Lutz can't punt in practice 40 yards?
Oh, now you're on the Joey Richards corner.
I've never seen it.
He's a rising star, Zach. I'm sorry that you're trying to keep him down, but he's on the come.
That's pretty funny if they kept like a right-footed punter on the practice
squad just for practice.
They keep like 19 guys. How many guys are on practice? Like 16? Seriously? It's something like that, right?
I mean, they don't need half of them anyway.
It's not crazy.
Anybody you want on there.
No,
I don't know this crazy minutia of the roster rules, but I imagine I don't know. He's been a backup punter for 3-4 years now. He's at the tail end of his career. Maybe just pull him aside, be like, hey, retire, and we'll bring you on as a special teams consultant. And you can practice with our guys.
Oh my God, that is a riot. You hire a righty punter as a coach.
Yeah.
That is
and this guy's already ready to retire. You know what I mean?
Free help, free practice.
Actually, that is actually pretty freaking brilliant right there. That's pretty good.
Pass it on to the Broncos, DMAC. I could use a bigger paycheck. Get in their ear.
All
right. So I got a few questions for you guys. First one, I'm gonna be the Pro Bowl genie, and I'm gonna offer you three Pro Bowl players to guarantee a better season next year. DMAC, you name it, and I'll grant it to you. Who's the three Pro Bowl players we have to have?
Well,
if Bo Nix, Pro Bowlers, or am I adding from around the league?
After Bo Nix, which Broncos?
He's not my first pick. He's not my first pick.
I'm taking him off the board. I need three Pro Bowl players.
Okay. Well, if I had my wish, if I was the genie coming out of the bottle, right, and I could pick one guy, or I'll go three, but like
my
first guy would be Nick Bonito as a Pro Bowl player. Because if that's the case, I mean, what are we talking? 16 to 18 sacks, loads of pressure, which would lead to turnovers. I mean, having Nick Bonito if Nick Bonito is your best defensive player, and my second guy would actually be Zach Allen. Like, there's nothing like pressure on the quarterback to make life easier for absolutely everybody. You know what you got with Surtain already. So, I mean, Surtain's an easy guy just to say Pro Bowl because he's already there. He's the defensive player of the year. So there would be nothing shocking or surprising if he's really, really good. But where you're going to get turnovers and short yardage situation is with pressure. So my number one guy would be Bonito. My number two guy would probably be Zach Allen. I keep going there. Jonathan Cooper, give me those three. And I got you with Pat Surtain. He's already incredible. There's no problem there. But if you got Pro Bowls out of Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, and Nick Bonito, how good would this team be? It'd be sick.
Good point. Zach, what do you think?
That would be a dominant pass rush that people would have a lot of trouble dealing with. I'm going to go a little bit of a different angle here. I'm going to say RJ Harvey, right?
Okay, that'd be awesome.
That's
right. You get that run game going to support Bo Nix. Maybe a little of the checkdowns can become explosive too in this offense. I think that's maybe what happens with RJ Harvey's season. Maybe the biggest X factor to me. Let's go Evan Ingram. Let's say the Joker thing really worked out well.
That'd be great.
Oh.
And let's say this one I feel like is cheating because I really wouldn't expect it. But Alex Singleton. I mean, we just talked about how that's maybe the one big question mark on defense, that second linebacker spot.
Wow.
If he Pro Bowl, there's fan votes and everything. I'm not saying he has to be a top 10 linebacker, but if he just was healthy and, had another crazy tackle total or whatever, enough that the fans vote him in. I'm not saying it even has to be great, but if he's just a solid starter, what are you picking on this defense?
Who's covering tight ends as an inside linebacker, though? Who's covering tight ends?
Greenlaw is probably the answer for it, which I don't love, but I think he'll also be better than anything the Broncos have had since Super Bowl 50. I mean, it's not his forte. There's a reason why they had Warner being the coverage specialist, but I think his movement skills and size and everything are good enough that he can provide some. Actually, here's the answer.
Do you think Hufanga?
Hufanga. I was going to say Hufanga is probably the answer there.
Yeah, you put Hufanga, and that's the other great thing about Barron. I think you can feel good about him being that deep safety.
Yeah.
You want Jones next to the ball or near the ball. You want Hufanga next to the ball. Also can potentially take a lot off of Drew Sanders or Alex Singleton or whoever else's plate. And he has the chemistry doing that exact role with Dre Greenlaw. So
there you go.
I'll go with him for my answer there.
Tried to touch on this before. I know we talked about Bo. Same coach and quarterback, same system. I think this is the first time in Bo's career, at least since maybe like his sophomore year in high school or some crap like that. Like, is this a big deal, DMAC?
It's not though. And I'll tell you why it's not. Because so I work with Mike Sanford, who's coaching at Valor and is a great sports talk host, as it turns out. Great dude. He hosted a camp with Bo Nix just recently. Like, he was there side by side with Bo Nix for 3-4 hours with the kids, that whole thing. And he said it was amazing because Bo was so dialed in specifically on football. Like, he wasn't flitting around. He wasn't distracted. And we've called Bo Nix Robo-Bo, like the Bobot, like a robot quarterback. He's the son of a coach. And so to me, the coordinators to me are kind of like, it doesn't really matter because he's wired the right way to absorb football the right way. So it's good. Listen, I think it's not a bad thing. So, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, only because I think this dude is wired the right way to play quarterback. He bought a house with his wife with no kids yet up in Castle Pines where like CEOs go to die. He's not a big nightlife sort of dude. Right. He's very, very singularly focused. And he's always been like this, which has got to be one of the biggest appeals that Sean Payton. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Zach?
I think it is a bigger deal. I fully agree with what he's saying. I think Bo Nix is well suited for this role. I don't think clearly it wasn't holding him back that much. I already went over how much he's developed and grown throughout his career, and that's with this constantly revolving door. But I guess, and it's all, projection because we haven't seen it. But I think, man, I look at how good this guy has been at implementing everything and learning everything when he's having to start from square one every single year.
Over and over. Yeah.
He's able to pick it all up, and he's got the brain for it. But imagine if now, and Sean Payton's kind of talked about this. I've heard media talk about this too, how they started with a very expansive playbook, went, ooh, this is a little much for Bo Nix, pared it down, and then it kind of re-expanded as the season went on and he got his legs under him. Well, you're not going to have to deal with that process anymore. And on top of that, you're probably you're definitely starting off where you were last year. One nice thing about the lack of turnover with this offense, although I generally agree, I wish they did added a little more talent. But one nice thing with the carryover is that almost every member of this offense, like even the rotational pieces, like, I don't know, 11 of the top 15 guys in terms of snaps, I bet 12 of the top 15 are going to be guys that were in this offense last year. So not only Bo Nix and this coordinator, but the offense as a whole is getting to, start early on this summer on the football 201 stuff or the football 301 stuff and go from there. And to DMAC's point, Bo Nix has demonstrated the mental ability to where I think once you give him those greater tools, he's going to be able to utilize those too. And, do we see the best version of Bo Nix we've gotten to see yet, better than even what we saw maybe his last year at Oregon, because he's finally getting to build on top of a pre-existing foundation.
Can you give me touchdowns, interceptions, projection? Give me touchdowns, interceptions, and total yards.
I'll go
for the season.
35.
Yeah.
Go 35.
Like it.
10.
Ooh, wow.
And because he's been pretty good at minimizing the turnovers outside those few spike games.
Well, what was he? 27 and was it 29
and 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say 35, 10, and 4,000. 4,000, 35, and 10.
Okay. That's 12 wins right there, boys.
Right? And he's probably a Pro Bowl guy. And that's
Pro Bowl.
I'm glad you pushed me on the stats because you look him up. Like it's improving across the board, but it's just a tweak. Get from 12 to 10, get from 29 to 35, from 37.75 to 4K. That's all very achievable, and he does that. I'd have to think he's a top
you're
quarterback.
You're 3 times touchdowns, interceptions, 4,000 yards. That's a fun projection too because it's not too much. Sometimes the yardage it's kind of a false narrative, right? Like, you threw for a lot because your team was getting their ass kicked, and so you pile it up. 4,000 is kind of in the sweet spot. That's really efficient. And not many mistakes. And then I guess I'd throw in rushing yards too, just for you think he gets 500 rushing yards, less, maybe a little bit less.
I hope it's a little less this year.
He's
honestly,
throwing that well is probably less, right?
But I could really see it going either way because maybe it's, hey, we got to protect this guy. Look at the hits he took last year. Let's really try and be careful with this. Or is it, hey, we got this guy healthy finally. We saw what he could do with his legs last year. Let's lean more into it. I think that 500 is a good number, though, because he came out with 430 last year with the bad back. So I feel like in that same ballpark feels right.
Dude, if they're doing that, they're averaging – we got numbers like that, they're averaging 27, 28 points a game. They're up there. They're up there. That'd be good.
Man, the Pat Shurmur
with that
days
defense,
long in the rear view, man.
Tough.
Don't rag on Pat Shurmur. He's the pride of Boulder, buddy. We got we need some miracles out of Pat Shurmur this year up in Boulder.
Oh my God.
Who can we throw under the bus? Bill Musgrave.
Billy Moose. Bill Musgrave.
Justin Allen.
Musgrave, I think, had one of my favorite.
Oh God, I can't believe you just
time.
threw a Justin Outen pull out.
Oh, Musgrave's a legend.
Outen was, we're going to score a lot of points. Woo! But no, my favorite Billy Musgrave was the Paxton Lynch one. It was like, what did they have at Memphis? Like 8 plays? Something like that? All right, that's great. That was like the offensive coordinator talking about his own shitty quarterback, like, like talking down about him, like what he got out of college. But
I love how little they hid their distaste for Paxton Lynch.
It was comical. It was a riot. What do they got? 8 plays at Memphis? All right, what's your next question, you idiots? What do you got for me? see who I got to work with over here? Guy's crying on the sidelines again. We're not even playing a game. He's practicing crying.
Oh my God. The I guess the one thing about the pros, right, is that once you get to a certain level, and it's this way, with golf, maybe more than with other sports, but even with the pros, like every little thing that, like, the competition is so close that every little thing you eat the night before or whatever can make a difference, because everybody's so good. And I think the thing with the same coach, the same system, the same, for Bo, I mean, getting to the line, maybe being able to get the play call out faster now and not having to think about it so much. And then you get to the line a few seconds early, gives you a chance to, diagnose what they're doing.
I just think Bo would have done that himself. I think Bo would have
I think he's growing, but I think if you start him all over with a whole new offense and a whole new coordinator, then it's like, oh shit, here we go again. We're learning another offense. I think it's great. It's probably not a huge deal like you said, but it's probably somewhere in the middle.
It's good.
Everything's great, right?
Everything actually,
Super Bowl, probably.
Not this year. But in 2026.
2026 is the push year.
Yeah. I think so. I'll be disappointed. Well, I think in 2026, you got to be in the AFC Championship game, period. Like, if that's not your goal at the beginning of the season, what are we doing? And in 2026, I think it's fair to say this could be a Super Bowl year. You have a great quarterback, theoretically, on his first contract, which means you can go crazy. You're going to be out of the Russell Wilson crap, right? That's all way done. You'll be able to fine-tune your team, so Sean will have plenty of his guys. Sean's 4th year, like 2026 is kind of like, man, oh man, you're going to have the new facility done, the new, right. What they're building up there. Like 2026 is just like really great. And I think 2025 is going to be really good too, but 26 is just kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know where the Super Bowl is in 2026. Give me a good spot. Where's the Super Bowl in 2026? But
Zach's so fast he'll look it up.
I wish Oh,
Where?
this would be. Oh, it's the 2020. I looked up next year's accidentally because it'll be played in 2026. But
Right,
this
I'm
coming
sorry.
one is in Santa Clara, which that would be poetic
Oh.
if they got back for that one.
We
The
won.
2027 Super Bowl is in SoFi in Inglewood.
Okay, all right. Well, that's Los Angeles, Southern California.
Yeah, nice.
Have we ever won? Have we ever won in SoFi?
Well, we got slaughtered there by Baker.
I don't know that
Mayfield.
we've ever won in that.
That was the Nathaniel Hackett. Let's all get plowed. The Nathaniel Hackett. Let's all get plowed before the game and get fired the next day.
So we've had Hackett and Alton on this episode. You're welcome.
What else?
Best memories.
Have we won there?
They beat the Chargers there. Didn't
I just
they?
can't.
Yep.
I just don't.
2023 at the Chargers, they won 24.
But it was in 23 and SoFi was open in 23.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Because they played in that soccer stadium there for a couple years.
Man,
I don't know.
I feel like it's been open.
They had SoFi
I feel
Stadium
like it was
by
open.
SoFi. Okay. All right.
Yep. The first Super Bowl there was in 2022. So 2023, they were ready to roll.
How about Rams Broncos 2027 Super Bowl?
Ooh, I like it.
2027. How about that? That'd be fun, huh?
Old gunslinger
Any
trying to
Super
go out
Bowl.
with one. Matt Stafford against the young guy, Bo Nix.
Any Super Bowl would be great. I just
Yeah,
want to
you're
be
right.
playing. I just want to.
By
be
the way,
in
Santa Clara is so funny. Did you guys go to Santa Clara for the Super Bowl 50? Were you there?
I wasn't, unfortunately.
You were. That might be the most boring because you guys realize it's nowhere really close to San Francisco. It's like an hour away. Like you wouldn't say, "Hey, Fort Collins, super close to Denver," right? Like,
no, you would not.
Nobody would say that. Well, that's Santa Clara, and Santa Clara is like, I don't know, man. It's like Highlands Ranch. It's just like, yeah, okay. Nothing. It's just strip malls and it's office parks and, it's so boring there. It's just San Jose. And there's nice parts of San Jose, but I mean, it's just like nothing. But the Broncos did get their party on, as I found out through the years. Like, it wasn't like they weren't boring, but they dialed it in. I'll give you a great trivia question.
Give us the story. Give us one good story tonight.
Well, I mean, everybody knows that I don't even have to blow my cover of things I know behind the scenes, so I won't say that.
No, you don't have to do that.
But I'll give you one that everybody should know. Who was the Broncos player who got caught with a prostitute with his brother at Super Bowl 50?
Was he a punter?
Nope.
Wait, a Broncos player.
Broncos player.
Knowledge?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wait,
Hey,
active
Zach, Google it up right now. Broncos player caught with brother and prostitute, Super Bowl 50.
That's insane. I'm gonna go.
You don't
Not a
remember his
safety.
name, do you?
Not a safety.
He might have been a safety. He was a cornerback safety. He was a secondary guy. Ooh, I got a stumper on you guys. No. He was barely on the team. But he was on the team. He was on the trip.
Did we talk about this
Keo?
when
Was
you
it
were on
Keo?
last time?
It's Ryan Murphy.
Oh my!
I swear to
Lord.
God, look up Ryan Murphy
Prostitution sting. He got gotten in a sting.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes. And it happened early in the week, and his teammates barely knew who he was.
Who he was.
So Kubiak comes into a meeting and goes, guys, just want to let you know Ryan Murphy got in trouble. He's no longer with the team. We sent him back. Half the guys looked around and said, who's Ryan Murphy? Like the guys didn't even know he was on the team. I'll give you a funny number about that. You would think that that's the last time he would ever be with the Broncos. Untrue. The Broncos actually brought him back for training camp. Didn't make the team, but it was not his last time ever with the Broncos. He was from the area, and his brother wanted to go have sex, I guess, with a prostitute. So he went with his brother to have sex with a prostitute, and they ran into a prostitution sting. He was sent home by the Broncos. Some of the reporters thought it might be a distraction. It was that Super Bowl hype, but half the team didn't even know who he was. But that is a true story. A Broncos player got caught with a prostitute with his brother in a sting on Super Bowl 50, and his name is Ryan Murphy.
I don't remember that at all.
Amazing. DMAC, thank you for that.
Isn't that a great story, though? Isn't that awesome?
He didn't hide in a wood pile, but in a parking lot.
That's another great one. He's straight out of Napa. You remember his name? Played in Oregon.
No, I don't remember his name. Couldn't remember it last time. We had to look it up. That's how.
God,
it's a good thing that we have to look these guys up because.
I'm blanking on his name too, actually, right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's nice that we have to look those
John
things
Boyette?
up.
John Boyette.
Yeah, Boyette,
That's exactly who it is. I got a great story for you on that one. So Foxy, I love Fox. So Fox goes, Fox was great because what they used to do back a while ago is the first 15 minutes of practice, you could go and watch the first 15 minutes, and Fox loved talking to Lindsey Jones. Loved talking to Lindsey Jones. So as long as you stood near Lindsey Jones, you would have all these great conversations with John Fox. He wasn't even paying attention to the first 15 minutes, whatever the fuck was going on out there. So Boyette gets busted. If people don't know the story, he did have a drinking problem, unfortunately. And he punched the bartender at that, it's near the Shane Company, that bar near there, whatever that. It's been a bunch of different things over the years. Anyways, he punched a cop. He ran away from the cop, and he hid in the wood chips of the Shane Company. And, of course, he got cut from the team because of that. But Foxy's telling the story about it. He got caught, and nobody knew what his name was. Everybody just called him fucking Boyette because he would just disrupt practice. So I didn't even know his name was John.
That's amazing.
It's a great story. He was a disruptor in practice. He was a legit player. Sadly, he had a serious drinking problem, obviously. But he was very, very disruptive. I think he probably would have made the team. But, John Boyette hiding in the wood chips. And training camp, we've had some fun stories over the years, guys. Elvis Dumerville with the gun right before it. Von Miller with the weed years and years ago. Matt Prater, another one with the stripper from Shotgun Willie's running into cars in front of IKEA guards
and going to the hotel right next door. And...
Right. It's been, but hey, how about Prater though? Right? How about Prater? Still in the league after all these years, still doing it. Pretty good.
Got his shit together.
He did. I'm glad he did because he's a good dude. But it's one of the all-time funniest stories. How'd the investigation go? Well, we saw his Broncos name badge in his car, so he's kind of easy to find. And then he doesn't just go home or something. He just goes to the hotel next door. The whole – God, that's a classic story.
So we know that story. And if for those of you that haven't heard that story, go watch DMAC and Sports Talk Denver. We had him on it a couple of months ago, and he told that story. But we need a new story. What's the Dumerville gun story?
Elvis Dumerville gun story.
Was he possession of a firearm or something?
He got busted with a gun right before training camp. Something in Miami, something along those
that's
lines.
Right. It was in Miami or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Elvis got in trouble with a gun. And then, of course, the dumbest Elvis Dumerville story of all time.
Was he I think it's airport? Was Dumerville in an airport?
He flashed it during a road rage incident.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. But that's a big story. But the bigger one, of course, was the Faxgate and him trying to get a new contract. And believe it or not, we had a time in our lives where things had to be signed off due to fax, which is kind of the most craziest thing of all time. And that caused because they didn't get it faxed in the right amount of time that they needed to, all of a sudden he would have cost the Broncos some sort of ridiculous more money than they wanted to. Some sort of silly, really foolish thing. Elvis ended up firing his agent relatively shortly thereafter. And it's one of those weird ones that's if you're about to sign the biggest contract of your life and it could come down to a fax, don't you go get a Starbucks at Arapahoe in Peoria and just be near the facility?
And just be
there. You know what I'm saying? If really millions are on the line, don't you hop the red eye from Miami to Denver and just sort of, all right, at the minimum, I'll just hang out near the facility just in case?
That's Shotgun Willie's. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, Shotgun Willie's still there.
Shotgun Willie's, is it still there?
So,
my Lord, we wouldn't be.
I'm in the neighborhood.
We wouldn't be getting rid of wide receivers from Detroit if it wasn't for Shotgun Willie's, my friend.
That's true.
All right, quick questions. Here we go. NFL, better on TV than in person? Now,
yes.
Baseball is better in person. Hockey is better in person to me. But NFL football, I don't know, man. I kind of like it on TV better. What do you guys think? I mean, I want to be not even close.
Not even close.
Which one?
TV's way better. Not even close.
Yeah.
I go to all these games. I've been to hundreds of Broncos games. I have to rewatch the game to find out what happened.
What the hell happened? Yeah.
I have no idea.
On the media end, like once you're in media, it's something I got to appreciate. Once I got credentialed, you get to go to all the games, and it's like it does become old hat at a point. To DMAC's point, you've got to rewatch it. In like the purest sense, the TV is definitely a better product. I think there's something like the novelty of going to a game. If you're a fan and it's not something you're doing every single game, I think that's still pretty cool, but yeah, it's a better product. It's a better television product than a live product.
The advantage of being there live, first of all, you know, obviously access to the locker rooms and you can talk to players and coaches. Okay, there's just that. Also, being at the game live, you do notice things on the sidelines that maybe aren't happening on TV. You can kind of tell when guys maybe are warming up or when they're hurt or different conversations. There's all sorts of things, but a lot of times those things get picked up on TV too, in all honesty. So the advantage of being there live is the only real advantage is seriously post game, in all honesty.
Yeah. As a fan, go ahead, Zach.
As a fan, I don't know how the fans do it. I think all the fans there should get medals I think they're amazing. I don't, because it looks so boring. You know, there's so many breaks. So many breaks. It looks just boring to me. People
watching TV don't realize how many breaks there are in an NFL football game. It's painful to watch because there's no replay, there's nobody talking, there's nothing happening, and you stand there and you're looking around and go, what are they doing? They're just standing there like nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden they'll run it, and then everybody's just standing around again. You don't know what the hell's going on.
But that being said, and there are a lot of boring moments in a lot of NFL games, guys. I mean, when you're at something special, I'll give you this. TV, yes. However, I would always pick TV or live playoff games at Empower Field or whatever. It's always better live when the game is really, really important. Always better live if the game really means something.
Now, DMAC, you were around for Old Mile High and like
a little bit,
I was at quite a few games in the South Stands, and the South Stands were pretty famous for being pretty rowdy. But it wasn't just that. But once I got into a end zone view of an NFL game, I learned that that's the best place to watch a football game. So if you're going to a football game live, try and sit end zone facing down. Don't listen to anybody who tells you the best seats in the house are on the 40 or 50 yard line. They're not. They're in the end zones.
You
can watch the plays. You can see. You can see it more like it is on TV, and then you get to have the crowd and all that too. But TV's
22.
You get the all 22 from the end zone. So Zach, what's the best Broncos game you saw in person?
Man, it's tough. I don't have nearly the impressive Rolodex that I'm sure DMAC's going to have. The most impressive one I always think about, and it wasn't a Broncos game, but I always think of going to the year UCF won the national championship. My brother was in college there, and I went to the war on I-4 between them and USF. And you can find the highlights on YouTube, but over like the last 2-3 minutes of that game, there were like 4 or 5 lead changes. The game ended on a walk-off kick return touchdown from Mike Hughes, and the way the stadium just erupted on, once he broke away was one I'll always remember. Broncos game, man, I remember the playoff game against the Chargers. I think it was the year they won the Super Bowl, but it was one of those Manning years will always stick with me. Maybe it wouldn't have been 2014. 2013.
Are you talking about the Chargers comeback game in San Diego?
Throws to Tammy and throws.
No. It would have been in the playoffs. It would have been
playoffs.
Round,
okay, all right.
Game. I'll see if I can.
I didn't know they played them in the playoffs that year. I thought we beat them in the regular season.
It was the 2013 season. So the year they made it to the Super Bowl.
Not the year we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I misremembered which Super Bowl it was, but just getting to go to a Broncos playoff game. There were Chargers fans sitting right next to us. And it was sweet savoring their misery. So that's maybe my favorite that comes to mind. Oh, actually, quick change. Media. I just had a memory covering on the media end. That week 3 game, Broncos 49ers. Things got real not fun after that in the Nate Hackett season. But there was a moment where it was like, could this be the best defense in the league?
2-1. 2-1.
Yeah. And the whole everyone in the locker room you would have thought they won the Super Bowl, man. They're like, we're the best fucking defense in the league. Like they were just it was going bonkers, like one of the craziest locker room atmospheres I've ever been there for. And it was like because they beat the 49ers 11-10 in week 3, but that's maybe my most
God.
That's an awesome memory. Well, I was lucky enough to be at the Tebow DT game against Pittsburgh. That's
the best.
Come on. I mean, that was, and I was at Super Bowl 50 as well. So, I mean, that's hard to compete against. And I was at both of the AFC Championship games for 48 and 50. So these are just amazing sort of moments. That Tebow, God, guys, I don't know, man. For all the crap that Tebow gets, he did give us.
That's clutch. That was a great season.
It's got to be one of the top 5
season.
Broncos games of all time. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you just say, well, okay, 3 Super Bowl wins, right? Okay, give me 2 more games more exciting than that game in Broncos history. It's hard. It's hard.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Because it was, and sadly, because of DT, the legend kind of grows. And we're going to be reminded about that a lot this coming season because they're having the 10-year anniversary of that 2015, as well as, DT Ring of Fame. So that game's going to be a big part of the storyline for this coming year, which is cool. I can't believe it's the 10-year anniversary too.
I know. Time flies.
Crazy.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been at that game. I never in my wildest dreams thought that we were going to beat Pittsburgh. I thought it was fun just getting there. It's going to be over, and that was fun, and then we won, and it was crazy. But
what was crazy too is nobody. I mean, DT didn't even know the overtime rules.
He didn't know. He didn't know the game was over. Yeah,
and I don't think Jim Nantz did. He was well schooled on it, but like, we looked around in the press box like, did we just win? I mean, it was like, I think we just won. I remember
Dave Logan on the call, and he said, while DT was still in the end zone, he said, and Denver is moving on to somewhere, wherever
Dave
we
knew.
went next. Yeah, Dave knew.
Dave
Of course, Dave knew.
Mm-hmm.
I was at, so I went to a lot of LA games. I went to a lot of games since then, but I think one of the coolest games I ever saw was actually in Dallas, and it was the 51
You were there?
49 whatever game it was.
Oh, that was
pretty
crazy.
awesome.
And I just saw the tickets the other day, and so I think it was in like 2014 or something. But
who made the big interception in that game?
I don't tell you.
I think I have it.
I don't remember that.
Because it was a very offensive game, but it actually came down to a Broncos interception. Who made the interception?
Trevathan?
Yes. Good job.
Was it really?
Yep. Good job.
So we were.
Remember that.
So it was me and my wife, and we were with like 10 Dallas fans.
Okay. All right.
That were friends of friends, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go?" We're like, "Yeah, we'd love to go. We're in town." They're like, "Well, here, we're not going, so you can go with these." people.
Wow!
And so we were with all, and of course the one lady looks at my wife, and she was very nice. She's like, "Oh, honey, I'm so glad y'all came all this way just to watch your team lose." And I'm like, and every second you turned around, there was a score, and I went to get drinks, and I heard like 2 crazy things happened. I didn't know what it was, but I came back and it was like they had scored like 14 points on us. Like we're getting the crap kicked out of us.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, to come back and win that game, and the naked bootleg was like right into mine and Teresa's laps as we sat there watching.
Oh, really?
Peyton,
awesome.
Peyton was running right towards us, and so that was a crazy game. And
that's great. That's great.
I had just like a Broncos polo on or something, and I had a shirt on underneath it. And that was one of those times where I took the shirt off,
really,
and like stuck it in my wife's bag as we left the building, because we had a long parking lot walk to the car, and it was like, you know what, these people are pretty upset, and I don't want to get caught in a parking lot with Broncos stuff on tonight. You never know who you're going to meet. But that's one of my most like crazy memorable games that I went to.
That's a great one.
I remember very little about it other than it was crazy and the score, but it was a good time. London, love it or hate it?
Love it. Wish I could go. Would love to go. Love it.
International games, you're on board with all that?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I love waking up and having football. I could have football on nonstop.
Oh, that's true. I guess,
I want football on from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. More football is better. The 18th game will be coming, boys, soon enough. It'll be here. And the more is better when it comes to football. I'm always sad when the season's over. Always sad.
Yeah,
Zach,
I like the extra time slot, and I like growing the game internationally. It's how you're going to get the best talent. Americans didn't just get worse at basketball; the rest of the world got better, and now you're having a better, more talented product. NFL's a long ways off from having like 4 of the top 5 players be non-Americans. But like how you draw from a wider talent pool with stuff like this, I think you are seeing it pay off with more international players being in the mix, even making some NFL teams now. It's cool to me. I'm all for.
Are you guys for or against expansion of divisions 4 to 8? What do you guys think?
Would you combine the divisions, or are you talking about?
I don't know. I think they'll inevitably want at least one European division. If you have one European division, don't you have to have 2? So you don't have to travel quite as much.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that. My pitch, and I've argued this last time I came on Mike's show, bring back NFL Europe. The NFL could use a development
as a farm team.
Yeah. Like the spring league has been great for like developing some of these players. Some guys absolutely need more seasoning. Bring back that like NFL partnership development league and use that to really help drum up the European excitement and everything.
I would be a big fan of NFL Europe you're not allowed to tackle the quarterback, because I don't know how these younger quarterbacks improve by just sitting on the bench. So I'm not trying to wussify football, but the problem there, I think you could tackle everything
red
else.
Jersey.
Yeah, something like that. Like you just, you can't hit the guy.
It's a vulnerable position.
Something like that. But at least you would have a situation, because how do these guys, if they're just sitting on the bench, get any better? Like, after training camp's over, there's really not a lot of competitive situations for these guys to be in for the next like 5 months. And even training camp is a bit restrictive, right? Like, can't really move around, don't really run. You know what I'm saying? NFL Europe, where you had a no contact on the quarterback, developmental sort of thing, could be an amazing idea.
I think the thing that I always thought what would do it for me with all these other leagues is if every NFL team had its own, and they were named the Broncos, and they were named. Like that way you could still be rooting for your guys.
Cool. Sure.
Because, I know that's so tough because you're talking about 32 teams, right? But like, why would you not want the Denver Broncos? You would want to go see, they'd be your guys. Like you would follow them. You would want to see them.
You're right about it. There's so many crazy.
I don't know how it would ever come.
Listen,
but that's
what are we
the only way.
This
it's the only way I would be interested. I don't care about the Argonauts or the Dewockies or whatever.
Here's what I find funny about all these conversations, and trust me, I've had a million of them. Okay, the NFL is kicking ass, and they don't need to change a damn thing.
But they do. They constantly do.
By what metric?
They want to have a whole division in Europe, and I'm against it. How the hell is somebody? How the LA Chargers are going to go to Europe and play somebody?
They'd go over there for 2 weeks. Yeah, you go over there, you play for 2 weeks.
I hope it works out for them. We're gonna have 40 teams then?
Don't even worry about it. It's not happening probably in our
Thank you.
Not anymore. Not irrelevant. But I want 18 games. I do want 18 games. You're
gonna get it.
I want 2 bye week, and I want the Super Bowl played on President's Day weekend, so you can get hammered and not worry about work on Monday.
I don't want to go to work on Monday. Either that or it needs to be a national holiday, right?
Exactly.
Day after the Super Bowl. I think everybody. I haven't done that all night. You just earned that one. If I was keeping score, you would have just.
I got something there. All right.
Yeah, you would have had something. State of the national NFL media. I guess I might be talking to myself here, but I've completely kind of lost faith in NFL national media. Like they've really latched onto the hot take stuff. I don't see a whole lot of great work coming out. Although there are exceptions. Zach probably knows a few. Zach, who's your go-to national football media guys? Who's a good one?
That's a good question. I mean, I think top of the heap right now is Mina Kimes. I think she's really good at providing takes, insight, the X's and O's she's got covered. I think she's pretty dang entertaining too. That immediately comes to mind. I think the guys over at The Ringer do a pretty good job covering different angles of it all. I feel everything's been democratized in media now, in the 21st century with the internet and everything. And I really think you can curate what you have. And I think in some ways it's worse than it's ever been. I think the hot takey stuff is worse in a lot of ways than it's been. I think there's a lot of people just going for like the lowest hanging fruit, and you have to be savvy for that. And if you want your Cheetos and you want your ice cream and whatever, and it might not be the most nutritious thing for you, but hey, it tastes good going down, you can go find that. And if you want something that's maybe a little more like mentally enriching and will teach you the game, I think the NFL fan base, generally speaking, is more intelligent about the game now than it's ever been. And as a result, I think there's more pressure on the media to speak to them intelligently and informatively than there's ever been. And although there's a swing towards hot takiness and maybe like broiness or frattiness, whatever you want to call it, I think there's another end of the spectrum that's going more into nuance and, like thoughtful analysis. And so I think it's, it's a buffet out there, and you can pick whatever you want to load your plate up with.
I love that. DMAC?
I think we need Pablo Torre to do more investigations into Bill Belichick's sex life. I mean,
that's just what we need. That's just what we need.
Hey, Pablo, I get it. It's a weird story, but seriously, dude. I mean, we're not done yet. Like, I mean, calm down.
I gotta say, this last one with him just being like, "Oh, you think I'm lying? Here's me in the house." Like, it's just so crazy.
Don't you guys think it's weird how obsessed Pablo Torre is?
It's a lot. It's
right?
A lot.
There's some obsessive compulsive stuff going on there in the media.
I think Pablo Torre is actually exemplifying like legitimate journalism. Like, okay, there's something here, but then it's like, hey, dude, move on. Like, it's just there's nothing here. And you're requesting court documents for I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah. And I don't care. It's like, oh, wait a second. Hot young girl tries to get old rich guy. Oh my God. What a story. I can't believe it.
I can't believe that happened.
Wait a second, guys. How about this one? Old guy tries to get with young girl. Hold on a second. I've never heard of that before. So in terms of media stuff, listen, there's this crazy vacuum that everybody has to fill, and it's trickier and trickier, in all honesty. Why? Well, first of all, teams just all have their own media teams, so they try to control the narrative themselves the best they can. Second of all, there's all sorts of conflicts with access. You see how limited it is with the Broncos. I mean, how much you want to push the envelope in terms of what you can get to and what you can't get to. And then there's the how much do the fans actually care aspect of things. So it's a little tricky. So, and then you just get regurgitated, everybody screaming at each other, really about nothing though, right? Like, what are we yelling at each other about here? And I find all that kind of boring. And the first guy on Pat McAfee's show that actually disagrees with Pat McAfee, send me an email about it. Let me know, because maybe then I'll watch the Pat McAfee show. But am I really going to watch an hour of five guys just agree with Pat McAfee about everything? I mean, is that interesting?
Lampreys don't often bite the shark.
There you go.
Hang on for the ride.
By the way, too, and I love Woody. I do love Woody. But I guarantee you, whatever we're doing right now is more interesting than looking at 80-year-olds and their sports takes, or whatever they were doing there.
Disagree.
I'm sorry. I understand it's been on for a long time, but that show was boring. And somehow, to their credit, Tony and Mike are not boring. I got to give them all the credit in the world, but they're really, really, really talented broadcasters and brilliant people, Tony and Mike. That around the
chemistry
horn show
is fantastic between those two.
It's so good. And by the way, when one of them's gone or other people fill in, it just ain't the same show.
No, it won't work.
Around the horn was just boring, man. It was just boring. That's why it got canceled. It was boring.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw the comments, everybody loved it like I did, but they loved it
20 years ago?
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, and then I haven't watched it in years. And when I did tune in, maybe in the last year or two, and then just kind of researching for what I was going to do here, I was not, I was like, okay.
Right.
Kind of lost it. It's kind of gone.
Right.
But It happens. And it's probably happening now because we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes, and I got to get you guys on the way. We didn't have our game show tonight. We didn't do any trivia. This is probably one of the best, just conversations that we've had on the show in a very long time. You guys, I said it for a reason. You're two of the best in the business and two of my favorite guys in the business for sure. Can't thank you guys enough. Here, you know what? I have a tie, 58-58. It's on the scoreboard. If nobody,
we Von Miller it up.
We Von Millered it. Watch this. I'm gonna prove
Von Millered it.
Yeah. Where's my window share? Look how fast I'm getting with this
well,
stuff, Zach.
if
You
we,
used to be so proud of me.
Hey, Mike, if we Von Millered it, then technically I win the tiebreaker because my age is closer to 58 than Zach's.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
I was going to say, I thought Von Millering meant you guys were going to try and shake me down for money as the young guy. But
wow.
Like, if anybody doesn't get that reference, go back to earlier in the show and you will, Broncos country. But, since Zach is my Woody Page, he'll remain undefeated on the show a little bit longer. And
if I'm not losing,
you'll maintain your one loss, one tie. You're 1-1.
It's all good. It's all good. It's a thrill to still be asked at my age.
It's honestly a thrill to have both of you guys on the show. I can't thank you enough. I think we answered most of the questions we tried to get to, but I kind of just wanted this to free flow a little bit, and pros like you just kind of make it happen. So Broncos country, thanks so much for watching, and DMAC and Zach, I don't know, probably around camp or after camp. Got to get you both back on because I'm going to definitely want to hear, because I know you're both going to be at camp, right?
I don't know. I'll tell you, I love working where I'm working, and I did afternoons for so long. Doing noon to 3 is tricky. Noon to 3 is tricky.
I suppose it falls right in. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you just have somebody work for you and then go out there for a couple days?
Last year, I went out there for like the first 20 minutes, and I just well, what we did was, here's what we did. I'll tell you why. It was really quirky, really, really quick. The Broncos allowed us to broadcast as long as there were things happening on the field.
Right.
Well, there were things happening on the field till about 12:30, 12:40, something like that. But our show goes noon to 3. So they're like, well, when things are off the field, you got to go. So what we did, which I thought was a kind of a nice compromise, Scott and Tyler would stay and broadcast as long as they could. But I drive, like you're doing tonight, Mike. I drive the show. So I kind of had to stay back. But it was all right. It's okay. And, it's 1,000 people out there, and I'll try to get out there, but I'm ready to analyze. There's not a lot of drama this year, guys. I swear to God,
that's true.
Comments.
That's true.
We know who the starting quarterback is, right? Any drama there? How many positions are even up for grabs in this training camp? Any?
Oh, just a couple. Who's going to be RB1 and where's Barron going to be?
So it ain't. I hate to say this because it's not great for me,
middle linebacker,
but the training camp battles and that whole story. Guys, we're boring now. We had 8 years of not knowing the fuck what we were doing with quarterbacks, and now we figured it out. All right, I'll shut up.
I don't even care. I'm having both of you back on around camp.
All right, sounds good.
I'm not waiting until the damn season starts. We're talking about July. Zach, any last words for Broncos country before you mute yourself?
No, just appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me. Always fun shooting talking ball with DMAC here, and thanks Tom.
Go fill that glass up. All right. See you. Good night, Broncos country.